Have you ever looked at your life and thought, why is this happening to me when I tried so hard to do the right thing? Have you ever wondered why some people go through storms and somehow become wiser while others go through smaller storms and still collapse inside? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about hard times, not the motivational poster version, not the quick quote version, the real version. The kind of season where you wake up tired, you move through the day like you are carrying extra weight, and you keep asking yourself how much longer. The kind of season where your mind keeps trying to find meaning but only finds noise. Here are the two things I want you to hold from the beginning. First, hard times do not only test your life situation, they test your inner stability. The external event may be unavoidable, but the inner suffering is often multiplied by how we interpret it, how we resist it, and how we turn it into an identity. Second, the most important skill is not avoiding pain. The most important skill is learning how to stay present and responsible, even when life is uncomfortable, so you do not lose your dignity, your compassion, or your direction. Let me tell you a story. It is not a fairy tale story. It is a human story, the kind that could be yours or mine or the person next door. His name was Daniel. He was not a reckless person. He did not live like someone chasing trouble. He followed rules. He tried to be decent. He built his life step by step. School, work, saving money, building relationships carefully. He was proud of how steady he was. He believed steadiness would protect him. Then a hard season arrived like a door opening in the night. It started with one phone call. A family member got sick, not a small cold, something serious. Hospital visits began, waiting rooms, the strange smell of disinfectant, doctors using careful language. Daniel watched his family act brave and then break down in the car. He tried to be the stable one. He handled paperwork. He researched options. He brought meals. He stayed calm in front of everyone. At night, he would sit alone and feel numb. He told himself it would pass. He told himself, this is what adults do. You carry it. Then the second hit arrived. His work changed leadership. A new manager came in, cut budgets, removed roles, and Daniel was told his position was no longer needed. No drama, no yelling, just a polite meeting and a sentence that felt like the floor moving. We are letting you go. Now Daniel's days were divided between hospital visits and job searching. Every morning he woke up with a tight chest. Every night he fell asleep with his mind still running. He started feeling like he was failing in every direction. He felt guilty that he was not doing enough for his family. He felt ashamed that he could not provide. He felt angry that life could take so much so quickly. And then came the third layer, the hidden layer, the one that hurts more than the events themselves. He started asking the question that seems innocent, but is actually poison. Why me? You know this question. It shows up quietly. It shows up when you wash dishes and suddenly your eyes sting. It shows up when you see other people laughing. It shows up when you open social media and everyone seems to be living a life that does not include you. Why me? Daniel kept asking it, and the more he asked it, the more trapped he felt, because the question contains an assumption. The assumption is that life is supposed to be fair in a way that protects you from pain if you behave correctly. The assumption is that if you are good enough, disciplined enough, careful enough, you earn immunity. But life does not work like that. Hard times do not ask permission. Hard times do not check whether you deserve them. Hard times come like weather, sometimes because of choices, sometimes because of other people's choices, sometimes because of pure unpredictability. And when we try to force reality into our preferred story of fairness, we suffer twice. The first suffering is the event. The second suffering is the resistance. Daniel did not understand this yet. He only felt exhausted. He felt like he was pushing a boulder uphill while someone kept adding weight. He started becoming irritable with people he loved. He started snapping at small things. He started losing patience. He started losing faith. One evening he sat with his uncle, a quiet man who rarely gave advice unless someone truly needed it. The uncle listened while Daniel poured out everything: the sickness, the job loss, the fear, the anger, the shame, the question. The uncle did not say everything happens for a reason. He did not say be positive. He did not say you will be fine. Instead, he said something simple. Hard times are not a sign that life hates you. Hard times are a sign that life is alive. Daniel frowned. That sounded too philosophical. He wanted a practical answer. He wanted a plan. So the uncle said it another way. You cannot always choose what happens, but you can choose what you do with what happens. And that choice decides whether this season makes you bitter or makes you wise. That sentence did not fix anything, but it created a small space inside Daniel, a space where he could breathe, a space where he could look at his own mind. Because up until that moment, Daniel was fighting the external world like it was an enemy. He was fighting sickness, fighting uncertainty, fighting loss, fighting time. And while he fought, he forgot the most important battlefield: his own attention. Hard times are dangerous because they capture your attention. They make you live in mental replay. What if it gets worse? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I never recover? The mind starts living in the future, constructing disasters, rehearsing humiliation, imagining worst outcomes. Your body experiences those imagined outcomes as if they are real. So you suffer even when nothing new has happened in that moment. Daniel began noticing how his mind worked. He noticed that in the hospital, when he was sitting beside his family member, his mind was still elsewhere. It was calculating job applications. It was worrying about bills. It was remembering the manager's tone. It was imagining future grief. His body was in the room, but his mind was running in 10 directions. And because his mind was scattered, he felt powerless. So the uncle offered him a practice, not a religious practice, not a complicated practice, a basic human practice. He said, for 1 week, every day, take 10 minutes, sit alone, close your eyes, feel your breath. When your mind runs, do not chase it, do not fight it, bring it back to breath, again and again. And then ask one question: what is the next right action? Not the perfect action, not the action that guarantees success. The next right action. Daniel tried it the next morning. At first it felt pointless. His mind was loud. He thought about job listings. He thought about hospital updates. He thought about how behind he felt. He thought about how unfair it was. But he stayed. He kept returning to breath, again and again. After 10 minutes, he opened his eyes and asked the question, what is the next right action? The answer was simple. Call the hospital and confirm the schedule. Then update the family group message calmly. Then apply to 3 jobs, not 30. 3. Then eat a real meal. That day he followed the answer. It was not heroic, but it was clean. It reduced chaos. And something important happened. He felt a small return of agency. Agency is one of the greatest medicines in hard times. Not the illusion of control, but the reality of choice. When you feel you have no choice, your mind panics. When you remember you always have some choice, even if small, your nervous system calms. The next day, Daniel did the practice again. Breath, return, breath, return. What is the next right action? Visit the hospital with full presence. No phone scrolling, no anxious research, just presence. Hold the hand, listen, offer water, speak gently, then go home undressed. Daniel did it, and he noticed something. The hospital room felt different when he was present. The pain was still there, but it was not mixed with 100 imagined futures. It was just what it was. This is a major difference. Pain is unavoidable, but unnecessary suffering often comes from the mind leaving the moment and building a nightmare. As the week continued, Daniel started realizing that hard times were not only attacking him, hard times were revealing him. They revealed how quickly he made his self-worth depend on external stability. They revealed how much he needed approval. They revealed how much fear controlled his attention. They revealed how easily he abandoned the present moment. They revealed how thin his patience became when he felt powerless. This revelation was uncomfortable, but it was also valuable, because you cannot change what you do not see. Now let me pause the story for a moment and talk about the deeper truth behind it. Hard times are not just events. Hard times are conditions that reveal the quality of your inner foundation. If your foundation is built on comfort, then discomfort destroys you. If your foundation is built on identity, then humiliation destroys you. If your foundation is built on control, then uncertainty destroys you. If your foundation is built on approval, then criticism destroys you. If your foundation is built on awareness, then storms still hurt, but they do not break your core. So the question becomes, what are you building your life on? Many people build their life on outcomes. If the outcome is good, they feel good. If the outcome is bad, they collapse. This is a fragile way to live because outcomes are unstable. A stronger way is to build your life on values and practice. Values are stable. Practice is daily, even in a hard time. You can practice courage, even in a hard time. You can practice patience, even in a hard time. You can practice honesty, even in a hard time. You can practice compassion, even in a hard time. You can practice discipline. When you build your identity around practice rather than outcome, you become stronger. Back to Daniel. After a month, the family member improved slightly. Not fully, but slightly. Daniel found temporary work. Not the perfect job, but something. Life was still heavy, but the panic was less. Then another hard moment arrived, because hard times rarely end in one clean cut. They fade. They return. They change form. The doctor gave an update that was uncertain. Not good news, not terrible news. Uncertainty. Uncertainty is one of the hardest things for the mind. The mind would rather have a painful certainty than a confusing maybe, because maybe keeps you trapped in endless imagining. Daniel felt the old panic rising again. He felt the mind start spinning. What if it gets worse? What if it never improves? What if I cannot handle this? Then he remembered the practice. He stepped outside the hospital for a moment. He felt cold air. He felt his breath. He felt his feet on the ground. He did not do this to escape reality. He did this to meet reality with a stable mind. He returned inside calmer. He spoke to his family with steadiness. He did not promise things would be fine. He did not collapse into doom. He said, "We will take it step by step." That sentence became another practice. Step by step. Hard times become unbearable when you try to carry the whole future at once. Step by step brings the weight back into human size. Now, here is where wisdom becomes more than coping. Daniel began asking a deeper question. If I cannot control life, what can I control? He already knew the surface answer. My actions, my attitude, my habits. But he wanted something deeper. He realized he could control where he placed his attention. Attention is your life. Whatever you place attention on grows in your experience. If you place attention on fear, fear expands. If you place attention on gratitude, gratitude expands. If you place attention on resentment, resentment becomes identity. If you place attention on service, service becomes meaning. Hard times often make you place attention on loss. That is natural. But you can also train attention to include what is still present. Daniel started noticing small things. A nurse who spoke kindly. A family member who showed up. A friend who sent food without being asked. The warmth of tea. The fact that his loved one was still breathing. The fact that he could still choose to be gentle. These small notices did not erase the big pain, but they prevented his mind from collapsing into total darkness. This is another key. Hard times become overwhelming when the mind believes the pain is everything. When you broaden attention, you remember pain is part of the moment, not the whole moment. Now I want to tell you about another person in Daniel's story, because it shows a different face of hard times. His sister, Maya, reacted very differently. She became angry at everyone, angry at doctors, angry at family, angry at life. She used anger as fuel to avoid fear. She spoke harshly. She criticized. She demanded certainty. She insisted on control. Daniel wanted to fight her. He wanted to tell her to stop making it worse, but he remembered something else. In hard times, people reveal their coping style. Some become quiet, some become angry, some become controlling, some become numb. He saw that Maya's anger was fear disguised, so he chose compassion without surrendering boundaries. When Maya became harsh, Daniel did not argue. He said, I know you are scared. I am scared too, but we cannot speak to each other this way. We need to stay on the same side. Maya snapped at him. Daniel stayed calm. He repeated the boundary. Over time, Maya softened, not because Daniel defeated her, but because he did not feed the fire. This is also part of handling hard times. Hard times can destroy relationships if everyone reacts blindly. But hard times can also strengthen relationships if someone brings awareness into the room. Now let us step into the deeper spiritual frame. Because many people ask the big question, is this fate? Is this karma? Is this punishment? Is this a lesson? Different traditions answer differently. But there is a practical way to hold this that does not require you to believe any specific story. Cause and effect is real. Some causes are personal. Choices you made, habits you built, risks you took. Some causes are collective. Family systems, society, economics, other people's decisions. Some causes are natural. Biology, aging, weather, randomness. Hard times often come from a mix of causes, and the mind wants one simple explanation because simplicity feels safe. But reality is complex, so instead of asking why in a way that makes you powerless, ask why in a way that makes you responsible. What can I learn? What can I change? What pattern is being revealed? What matters now? That is a wiser use of why. Daniel stopped asking why me. He started asking what now. That shift changed him. What now moved him into action. Why me moved him into victim identity. Now, I want to speak about a very common trap in hard times. People try to be strong by suppressing emotion. They say I should not cry. They say, I should not feel weak. They say I should stay positive. They say I must be grateful. This can become a form of self-violence. Real strength is not pretending you do not feel. Real strength is feeling fully without letting the feeling drive to destructive choices. Daniel learned to let grief move through him. Some nights he cried quietly, not to collapse, but to release pressure. He did not shame himself for it. He treated it as a human response. Then, after crying, he returned to the question, what is the next right action? This is emotional maturity. Feel, then act. Now let us talk about another trap. Comparison. When you are in a hard time, you look at others and think they have it easier, or you look at others and think they handle it better. Both comparisons create suffering. If you compare outwardly, you feel jealous and isolated. If you compare inwardly, you feel ashamed and weak. Hard times already take energy. Comparison wastes the remaining energy. Daniel noticed this. When he saw someone laughing, he felt bitterness. He thought, how can they laugh when I am suffering? Then he realized the truth. The world does not stop because you hurt. That is painful, but it is also freeing. It means your pain is not the center of the universe. And because it is not the center, you can still find moments of life inside the pain. This realization softened his bitterness. Now I want to tell you a moment that became a turning point. One evening, Daniel's family member, still weak, looked at Daniel and said, you look exhausted. Do not lose yourself because of me. Daniel felt tears. He wanted to say, I have to. I have no choice. I must carry this. But then he heard something deeper. The loved one was asking him to stay alive inside the responsibility. So Daniel promised something. He promised he would care without collapsing. He would love without losing his mind. He would show up without abandoning himself. That promise became a compass, because hard times often tempt you to abandon yourself. You stop sleeping. You stop eating. You stop moving. You stop talking to friends. You stop doing anything that restores you. You call it devotion. But if you destroy yourself, you cannot truly serve anyone. So Daniel began building a rhythm. He would do hospital visits with full presence. He would do job searching in limited focused blocks. He would take walks daily. He would eat simple meals. He would sleep when possible. He would talk to one friend each week. He would sit in silence each morning. These habits did not remove the hard time, but they built a stable inner ground. And this is where the deepest teaching is. You do not handle hard times by waiting for them to end. You handle hard times by becoming the kind of person who can carry them without becoming bitter. Now I want to share another story, shorter but powerful, because hard times also show up in a different form. A woman named Sophia lost something she did not expect to lose. Not a person, a dream. She worked for years toward a goal, a program she wanted to enter, a path she built her identity around. She applied, she prepared, she sacrificed sleep and fun, she imagined the future. Then she was rejected. The rejection did not just hurt her plans, it hurt her sense of worth. She thought, if I am not this, then who am I? This is a common kind of hard time, not external tragedy, but inner collapse after a loss of identity. Sophia became depressed. She stopped leaving her room. She avoided friends. She felt ashamed. She told herself she failed. And if she failed here, she would fail everywhere. Then her grandfather visited. He did not lecture. He simply asked one question. Were you trying to become someone, or were you trying to become better? Sophia did not understand. He said, If you are trying to become someone, any rejection destroys you. If you are trying to become better, rejection becomes information, not a verdict. That sentence changed her. She realized she had attached her worth to a label. She had turned a path into her identity, so losing the path felt like losing herself. Her healing began when she separated worth from outcome. She began asking, what skills did I build during this effort? Discipline, focus, persistence. Those skills were still hers, so she used them again toward a new direction, not as consolation, but as growth. This is another way to handle hard times. You stop making outcomes equal identity. Now I want to bring this back to you with practical clarity. When hard times hit, there are the few inner moves that decide everything. 1. Stop demanding that reality match your preferences. Reality is what it is. Your job is to meet it wisely. 2. Focus on what is within your influence, your actions, your habits, your attention, your boundaries. 3. Reduce mental time travel. The mind will try to live in future catastrophe. Bring it back to the present through breath, movement, and simple tasks. 4. Build rhythm. Hard times are chaotic. Rhythm creates stability. 5. Do not isolate. Find at least one grounded person to speak with. Not a person who fuels drama, a person who holds reality. 6. Keep compassion alive. Hard times can harden you. Do not let them turn you cruel. Compassion does not mean weakness. Compassion means you do not add extra suffering to yourself or others. 7. Accept grief. Feel it without shame. Then return to the next right action. These moves sound simple, but they are a path, and a path is walked daily. Now, what about the deepest fear? The fear that hard times will never end. This fear is real. And sometimes the hard time changes shape rather than ending quickly. But here is a truth that helps. Everything changes. This is not a motivational line. It is reality. Bodies change. Conditions change. Circumstances change. Minds change. The question is whether you change with awareness or you change by being broken. Hard times will shape you either way. The only choice is how. Daniel eventually looked back on his hardest months and realized something. He did not become perfect, but he became more present. He became more patient. He became less arrogant about control. He became more compassionate with others because he knew what hidden battles looked like. He became less quick to judge. The hard time did not bless him. It did not feel good, but it taught him. And he realized another truth. When life is easy, you can pretend you are wise. When life is hard, your real practice appears. Now I want to close this with a final reflection that might land in your chest. Hard times often make you feel alone. You think nobody understands. But the truth is, suffering is one of the most shared human experiences. People hide it. People mask it. People smile through it. But it is everywhere. When you remember that, you stop feeling singled out by the universe. You start feeling connected to humanity. And that connection can bring a strange strength. A strength that says, I am not the only one. I can carry this. I can learn. I can stay kind. I can stay clear. Now, I want to invite you to share. What kind of hard time are you facing right now? Is it health, family, school, work, money, loneliness, or grief? And what is the hardest part? The fear, the uncertainty, the feeling of unfairness, or the exhaustion? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable. Your story might help someone else feel less alone, and it might help you name what you are carrying. If you want more conversations like this, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment so more people can find it. And if you want to support the channel in a deeper way, consider joining the membership so we can keep building long-form content that is honest and practical and rooted in real inner stability. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take one breath right now. Feel your feet. Come back to the present. Choose the next right action. And I will see you in the next video.